Folding range. We're focusing on two interlinked movements. One is a pure hip hinge called a good morning exercise, and then the other one is a standing fold where we allow spine to relax. So the good morning, spine stays stacked neutral, and fold, spine is allowed to relax. Both of them are focused on stretching the posterior chain, lower body posterior chain. Even with the folded back, we're still not trying to stretch the muscles along our spine. So we'll start with the good morning. Good morning can be a tough one because it is a pure hip hinge. Feet are right underneath your hips and your toes are pointed forward. So you're not doing this like you would with a swing. You're going to bring your feet right together. And then I grab a stick here because for many people this is a hard one to maintain that neutral alignment. But when you're working on the good morning, you want all of the movement to happen at the hip and not bending at the back. So I'm not trying to reach my back and try to bring my head closer to the ground. I am just trying to flex at the hip. So use a stick if you need, because it might be that you've patterned yourself to have a nice tall neutral spine for things like swinging and deadlifting, but maybe once you start doing a different stance, the feet narrow together, you might fall to some other patterning. After the stick hinge, there's three different places you can put your hands. The first one is a low position at the bottom of small of your back. This can also be a good cue if you try to open up your wings to keep your spine line and not let your shoulders roll forward, pulling your spine with it. So open up your wings, use it as another cue to keep standing neutral. These are all done slow and controlled. Really focus on ratcheting, breathing into your bottom position, being strong as you come down, keeping abs strong as you come down, and gradually creating more space. Absolutely positively fine to keep your knees a little soft, long but soft. They do not need to be locked into place. So don't jam them back. Keep them just a little bit soft. Trying to put as much of the stretch into the muscle belly as you can. The next position for your hands is at shoulder level. And shoulder level means I'm going to put my elbows at shoulder level. I just touch right behind my ears for this one. You will have to actively open up your wings. So using your upper back to open up your scaps and hold on to that position as you fold forward. This is a little tougher, both because it takes a little more effort to hold the line, but also because we've now moved more mass further away from our fulcrum. So if this is my moment arm, I'm putting more mass further away, just like if you grabbed a stick and you put a little weight on the end of the stick, it would be much more force in your hand. So same thing here. I bring my hands further up. This begins to load this pattern a little bit more. And then the final one is arms overhead. For this, I prefer interlinked fingers so I can create some tension through my arms as I reach into my good morning. I'm attempting to make one line from my arms all the way down to my hips. And I'll give myself a little rest when I come up in between my reps. So 3 ways of loading at body weight, and then the final load is you can do this with a weight on the small or the top of your back. When you put a weight on your back, it's not up and over, and it's not kind of around. Think about sliding it. If you start with your arms at 90, one down tucked, one up, sliding it over your shoulder and controlling it into place. And same thing when you bring it back down. Slide it back over the shoulder rather than just kind of flopping it out. Flopping it out and hoping that it goes in the direction you want it to. So I'll slide it over, and then the load again, helps me to strengthen as I'm lengthening into my good morning. Then when we're finished with good mornings, we'll add in some folds. So for the fold, foot position will be the same, right underneath your hips, toes pointed forward. And here, I'm going to start by dropping my head and then pulling my spine down behind it. I like to slide my fingers down my legs. And here I'll especially soften my legs as I come down. And then once I get my body hanging on my legs, now I'll start to put some more length into my knees and putting more length into my hamstrings. And when I come back up, again, as I need, I'm going to soften my knees and curl myself back up to standing neutral, finishing at the top, coming back down. So I can use my legs as targets, my feet as targets, and then finally the floor. And when you get to the floor, you can start to fold your fingers down to knuckles or down to palms as you feel like you're creating more space in your fold. So 2 standing folds.